Hello and welcome to the quick album review for the month of August. Before I get into this, I just want to point out that some of these records were not listened to during the month of August. Some of them are from July. One of them is from January. I'll point it out when it comes up. Yeah, just so you know, it's more albums that I listened to in August, not albums specifically came out during the month of August. Same thing will happen for the September-October video. For November, December, I'm not sure. I cannot see the future, but we'll see. Without further ado, though, let's jump into it with the first album here for August, which is Steve Lacy's Gemini Rights. This album did come out in July, I believe, and I did enjoy it. I never knew anything about him. I know the name Steve Lacy, but I never heard a song. I kind of knew in a way the genre he was in. Just I never had any interest listening to it. I remember hearing a comment once about him, which is he's trying to do the same song every single time, which kind of fits to this record, but I do not see a very big repetition anywhere. I do not see any problems with the songs in particular, and I find it to be a very pleasing sounding album, which I do like very much so. And I decided to give that an 8 out of 10. Moving on to an album that came out in January, which is Silvana Estrada with Marchita, a Mexican album, a Mexican folk album to be more precise, and it's a very good experience to be honest. I initially did not rate it on account of that I knew there was something behind it that I just didn't know at the time. Coming back to it a couple days ago, I did enjoy it. I remember why I enjoyed it. Her voice is magnificent, almost angelic. The only real thing that I just do not really like, but that is also like not only for her, but for a lot of musicians, it's when I feel like the voice is coming back to too many times. Like there's where I feel like I'm having constant deja vu's. That sometimes does bother me, and it did a little bit with this one. It did not fully destroy my immersion in this, but I did enjoy it though, and I decided to give this also an 8 out of 10. Moving straight on to Black Thought and Danger Mouse with cheat codes. I knew there was something behind this record that I couldn't find at first listen. Especially when you look at this album, you see that there is a song with A$AP Rocky and the Run the Jewels duo on it, which is already amazing to see. And then there's another song with MF Doom. You know that there's something behind it. So after my first listen, I didn't initially like give any rating to it. I decided to let it simmer for a bit and then come back to it later. And when I came back to this, I found out why this is actually pretty great. It is an astonishing sounding record which I will happily listen to from time and time again. It's one of those records where you're like, I loved it back then when I listened to it for the first couple of times. Will I love it when I listen to it in like 3 years? The possibility is very high. Having a lot of different features on here, specifically one of them I believe it's on the third song, which I thought it was MF Doom, but I found out it isn't. It sounded like him, but even having MF Doom on here on Belize, it's a very nice sounding song, and having a theme sometimes come back, like at the end. I remember there's a theme that comes from the beginning. I remember popping out again. It is very enjoyable to listen to. So just for clarification, repetition does have good things and bad things. If I feel like it's just a deja vu, I might be bothered by it. But if it's a theme that's a recurring theme, then it has a purpose, and I feel like more fulfilled. I feel like it's better off. I feel like it's just better implemented. So yeah, I did enjoy this also, and decided to give this record a 8.5 out of 10. Jackpot with God's Country. This one's rating is weird because I feel like right now it is high. But I do not know how it'll be in the future. This is this sort of album where I'm like, I'm jealous of the writing. When I try to write lyrics, I try to do big lines. I try to do them complicated. But every time I write something, I feel like, nah, that's too easy. That's too simple. I gotta write that differently, or I gotta put something else on it. I want to have a lot of meaning on it. But when I see this record, it shows me that simplicity sometimes it's even better than maximizing everything, because the simplicity sometimes with some of these songs, the lyrics, it still it still shows the big emotion behind it, the big message behind it, and it does it very, very well. The sound, I'm not too sure how to feel about it, because it is a noise rock album, and the last noise rock album that I listened to that I fully enjoyed was Daughters You Won't Get What You Want. I love that record. Putting aside what the main artist did or does, it is still an amazing record to listen to. The sound on it, the experience that I got from it is second to none. With this, I did not feel in a way the same experience, but I did not expect that. I did see that it is very well done, that I could put this on maybe when I do want to listen to something more heavier or on the heavy side, but it is not something that I see myself listening to again in the near future, at least. But it is still something that I will give credit to in every single way, shape, and form, because, like I said, first and foremost, the lyrics. So yeah, I decided to give this also an 8 out of 10. A lot of eights. A lot of eights. But now comes Panic at the Disco with Viva La Vengeance. And I don't even want to say I'm disappointed, because I just don't consider myself a Panic at the Disco fan. I don't know if I ever was one, because I did enjoy a lot of their songs. I enjoyed Death of a Bachelor, the album itself, and then songs from the past, right? Since the Tragedies, Mona Lisa, and a couple of others that I just cannot remember right now. I love those, and I still like them. But after Death of a Bachelor, everything I know is High Hopes, and I do not like that song at all. And when I listen to this, I did not see anything enjoyable from Brandon Urie. I'm not even going to say the band, because it's basically just Brandon Urie at this point, going with a different alias, which it's not a problem at all. Just it's not Panic at the Disco that I knew, or at least that I heard from the past few years. So yeah, I just did not enjoy this at all. For me, it was trashy pop music that is for the radio, but it's the sort of radio music that you would skip instantly. So I gave that a 2 out of 10. Then we have DOMi and JD Beck with Not Tight, and I was very surprised about this, because of many reasons. I did not go into this seeing anything. Like, I do not know JD Beck is, or who DOMi is. I did not look up any of the features, any of the songs. I just let it play. So when I heard Anderson .Paak come in during Take a Chance on Me, I was actually very surprised, and I enjoyed it even more. So the album itself was already growing on me somehow. I don't know. It was actually growing from song to song. It was actually very enjoyable. The instrumentals were very enjoyable. I did not expect it to be even an instrumental album at all. I went blind into it, and I did enjoy it. And as soon as Anderson .Paak came in, it even got better for me. But his addition does add a bit, at least for me, since I'm a fan of his work. So I decided to give this a 7.5. Joey Badass with 2000. So this record right here, I did also not give a rating to initially, just because I knew there was something more behind it. Same with Cheat Codes and also Marchita. But this record right here from Joey Badass, I knew that there was something behind it, because the first few songs always caught my attention. And when re-listening to the album, these few first songs were actually the ones that I enjoyed the most. Like, I enjoyed the full record, but those few songs is what catches me. I feel like I sometimes use the excuse that I have a small attention span, which it is true actually. Like, if I listen to an unknown album and feel like I'm almost done, but I'm only halfway through it, I might just go off, because I feel like I cannot handle it anymore. Just, I'm not into it anymore. My attention has gone away. I just do not care more about it. So sometimes when I see these records being 50 minutes long or so on and so forth, it does just already put something on me, just like, ooh, this will be tough to go to listen to. Even though there are many records that I've listened to that are even over an hour long. One of my favorite records of all time, Twin Fantasy, is 1 hour and 16 minutes or so. I love those. I even love Dripping Tab, which is 18 minutes long. Like, it's not a problem with the length. Sometimes it's more of the problem with be unknown and then needing time to get into it. This album had that problem a little bit for me, uh, with the coming back to it, getting into it. But for me, the first few songs are always the thing that I come back to when I want to re-listen to an album. If the first few songs catch my attention, then I will continue the album, and then I'll and probably finish it. And this it did exactly that. The first few songs, like I've said many times before, are jams, are bangers, and it goes on from there. I decided to give this an 8 out of 10, but it is one of those records that as soon as I get used to it, I will just listen to it forever and ever. Next up, we have JID, The Forever Story, and this is another record where I utilize my attention span as an excuse, because this is also, again, a I believe 50 or 59-minute record. Adding 2007, it's over an hour long. So it is one of those records where I actually think I'm done with it or almost done. Then I look over to Spotify and see, oh, wait, I'm halfway through it. Every song here is amazing, or at least the most part of it is really good. It took me a while, but as soon as I got Dance Now and Can Pong Me on my brain, it just felt better. Like everything felt better. Listening to Cuddy Blue 31 just made everything even better. Like it was just so good listening to that. I don't know if it was just because of the moment. I don't know if it's because of anything outside of the song, but that just put me in a better mood immediately. Like that song, listening to it just makes me feel better. So it's one of those tracks that I'm going to say it's amazing. My attention span is the problem. Give it a listen though, because JID shows here why he's amazing, why he belongs in the big name category, or at least in one of the big names. I feel like at this point, JID, Denzel Curry, and even Joey Badass should be looked at in a different light. They have always been more underground in a way, underrated, but these records from all of them, like Denzel Curry's Melt My Eyes, JD's Future, the Forever Story, and Joey Badass 2000, they show how good they are. How they show how amazing they can be doing different things, even like Denzel Curry, and they show that they have a bright future ahead of them and an amazing one just to even think about. So I'm giving this a 9, but I do not know if this might also be going higher. We don't know, but even a 9, I feel like it's an amazing record. And ending the month with Dance, Gavin Dance, Jackpot Juicer. I remember hearing about this on Twitter. There was a user that was talking about it. He was a big fan of it. Back in the days, I believe they released this album just a few, I think it was the same day. I'm not sure anymore. So I decided to give it a listen. And this is a post-hardcore record. So if you remember what I said about Petrol Baby, which is also a post-hardcore record, I said that I might like some of the parts, but I might not enjoy the whole sound of it. And with this right here, I just didn't enjoy it much. Like the sound, sometimes it's good, but sometimes I just don't care. Sometimes it's not even that good. It's not even that enjoying. There's just nothing I could get out of it, or not that much. And after a while, I decided to quit. I came back to it, but just didn't do much for me again. It's just one of those genres, honestly, that I feel like it will be hard for me to get into, or just in general to have an opinion that is not in a way biased. So yeah, I ended up giving this a 3 out of 10. And let's move on to the song of the month. I gave that to Cody Blue 31 from JID. And I think I've said enough about it. The swing on parts are just astonishing, like literally bliss. When the female artist comes in, a female singer comes in and sings that, it actually feels good. It's one of those moments where you're just like with your head back, like swinging side to side and enjoying the moment. And ending this video with the single of the month goes to Joji Yukon. At this point, I have heard the new album. I'm not going to say anything about it though. No spoilers, but Yukon interlude, or Yukon, I don't know, is a very good song. Not the same extent as Glimpse of Us, but it's still a very enjoyable, a very good song to say the least. And it shows that Joji has the potential to make something great, makes a great project. Like these two songs show his true potential of making a album of the year, or at least an album of the year contender. And this is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope I can edit this in time to upload it in a week from the other one. So yeah, I will now be listening to the other records that I haven't rated from the other months. So yeah, I'll see you then.